Following all the positive reactions and growing anticipation, Alien Earth has finally premiered on FX and Hulu. It's a gripping new sci-fi series set in a near-future world where humanity is on the brink of achieving immortality, though not in the way you might expect. The series explores the intersection of advanced technology, corporate greed, and human consciousness, all while delving into the horror and existential questions that arise from those themes. For the most part, I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and other than some weird editing choices, I really appreciated the return to both the horror and sci-fi that we love with the original movies, while making some steps to evolve it too. So in this explained analysis, I'm going to be giving you my breakdown of Alien Earth Episode 1 and 2, discussing full plot details, the ending, and much more. There will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched the series yet, then I would recommend checking it out before watching my analysis. Before I get into it though, if you want to see more breakdowns for Alien Earth, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating and subscribing to the channel. But without further ado, let's dive into my explained video for episode 1 and 2 of Alien Earth. So Alien Earth, the franchise's first TV series, takes place in 2120, about 15 years after Covenant and 2 years before the events of the original Alien from Ridley Scott. Based on the timeline, and if we get more seasons of Alien Earth, the events could take place simultaneously with the first Alien movie. Written and directed by Noah Hawley, the show redefines and broadens the Alien mythos. He gives us a glimpse into the companies responsible for sending the Nostromo to retrieve the Facehugger. But instead of the Nostromo, meet its possible sibling ship, the Maginot. For the first time in quite a while, xenomorphs are no longer confined to space attacks, as they're right here on Earth. 5 corporations hold power, with Weyland-Yutani being the one we know, in charge of North and South America, Mars and Saturn. Then there's Dynamic, the company that oversees the moon, and also Threshold and Lynch, who share minor power but have not previously appeared in previous Alien narratives. The 5th corporation, however, is Prodigy, which takes centre stage at the outset of the new series. Episode 1, titled Neverland, opens with a prologue explaining the 3 paths humanity is chasing for eternal life, including cyborgs, which are humans enhanced with technology, synths, who are AI beings, and hybrids, which are synthetic bodies containing human consciousness. In the year 2120, aboard the Weyland-Yutani research vessel, the USCSS Maginot, the crew wakes from cryosleep after a 65-year mission. They awaken near Saturn only to find the ship crippled, its communications are down, logs are corrupt, and the fuel is dangerously low. In one of the labs are bizarre alien specimens, including tentacled eyes, slugs, and facehugger pods, central to the mission despite their obvious danger. We learn that tensions simmer on the ship as the security officer Morrow, who is a cyborg, insists they cannot abandon them. Parallel to the chaos in deep space, the episode then shifts to introduce us to Neverland, a research island ran by the Prodigy Corporation. Here, an 11-year-old terminally ill girl named Marcy undergoes a radical procedure which makes her the first hybrid, transferring her consciousness into an adult synthetic body and taking the name Wendy. We then get introduced to those taking care of her. There's Kirsh, a synthetic mentor who helps her adjust and uses lessons, like viewing a scorpion in a terrarium, to probe ideas of fear and empathy. And there's also Dame Sylvia, a human scientist who smooths Wendy's transition with kindness and emotional simulation. During the transfer, a Peter Pan sequence plays overhead, with Marcy herself remarking that it looks like Wendy, making the Peter Pan analogy explicit. After her procedure, Wendy then mentors other terminally ill children through the same process, and they become her lost boys. All the while, Boy Cavalier, Prodigy's enigmatic CEO and youngest trillionaire, monitors from afar. After the introduction of both of these timelines, we then come to the ending of episode 1, and it's here where we start to see the 2 focal points of the episode converge. Back on Maginot, things are unravelling as an alien breaks loose, killing crew members, and Morrow seals himself in a compartment to survive. The ship veers off course, heading straight for Earth without any control. Moments later, we cut to Prodigy City, also known as Nuseum, where Joe, or Hermit, Wendy's brother and a Prodigy Corp medic, sees the ship plunge into the city, resulting in a catastrophic crash. Wendy insists on helping her brother, driven by an almost childlike sense of bravery. She convinces the Prodigy Corporation to let her and the Lost Boys into action, gearing up for their first real mission as hybrids under Boy Cavalia's watch. Meanwhile, on the Maginot, rescue teams infiltrate the ship and encounter deadly specimens and a facehugger lurking in the lab. So by the end of the first episode, we learn that there's a focus on corporate control, with rival megacorporations like Weyland-Yutani and Prodigy racing for immortality. Also, Wendy's struggle with her synthetic body highlights questions of consciousness and what it means to be human. The Peter Pan allegory further underscores the eerie innocence of the Lost Boys within a chilling experiment. This brings us on to the events of episode 2, which is titled Mr. October. The second episode picks up in the chaotic aftermath of the Maginot crash. Medic Joe Hermit and fellow operatives Siberian and Rashida advance through the damaged vessel, discovering horrific casualties and sensing something trailing behind them in the wreckage. When we come back to Prodigy's Neverland research island, Boy Cavalier confides in Dame Sylvia that he launched the hybrid project not merely for human advancement, but to outwit his own intelligence. He wants to have conversations with people smarter than himself, hinting at his intellectual and emotional ambition. Sylvia questions the moral cost of this though. Anyway, Wendy and her Lost Boys are sent into Prodigy City near the crash site. Once there, she picks up subtle sounds no one else can, spots Hermit via a security feed, and quietly reveals her personal connection that it is her brother. She asks one of the Lost Boys slightly to keep it a secret, but he immediately blurts it out. We learn that Hermit faces a terrifying encounter with a xenomorph, chased through corridors, and he barely escapes via an elevator after suffering an injury and losing communication with his team. Meanwhile, the Lost Boys' investigation yields grotesque discoveries, from blood-sucking bugs to an autonomous tentacled eyeball creature that they manage to pin down. Hermit's path eventually leads him to a high-floor apartment hosting an opulent Regency-era party. The occupants are dismissive, insisting Prodigy's CEO will handle any evacuation. But that illusion of safety shatters when the xenomorph crashes through, slaughtering the elite guests. Hermit is luckily saved there by the cyborg Morrow, but like with a lot of people he encounters in the first 2 episodes, he incapacitates him before encasing the alien in a containment cocoon, only for it to break loose and slaughter more soldiers. This brings us to the final scenes of episode 2, where Hermit, recovering consciousness, wanders into a room adorned with a baseball relic. Picking up a Reggae Jackson World Series ball, it triggers a childhood memory of his father's words, which were, "Sometimes the world gives you a moment to shine, Mr. October." For Joe, the phrase Mr. October reminds him of a lesson he learned from his father during his childhood. His father conveyed that life occasionally offers chances for individuals to stand out, and those who seize those moments are remembered throughout history. This is when Wendy finally appears to him and their emotional reunion unfolds, with Hermit realising that his sister, presumed dead, is the synthetic hybrid that stands before him. The Lost Boy slightly blurts out that they're not synthetics but something special, and confirms Wendy was once Marcy, Hermit's sister. As they reunite, they approach the Xenomorph X-chamber, only for a creature to emerge and attack Hermit. Wendy leaps into action, diving back into the Maginot's breach after the creature and her brother. Episode 2 ends with the song Stinkfest by Tool, which is about emotional numbing and searching for connection, mirroring the hybrid's existential turmoil. So the reunion between Wendy and her brother raises the question around what it means for her to be human, with her being synthetic with human consciousness. And her emotional impulse to help her brother contradicts Prodigy's clinical manipulation of child consciousness. Now, one final thing to discuss is, after seeing episode 1 and 2, what I think we could see happen in episode 3. Episode 3 is titled Metamorphosis and is sure to continue the suspense from the cliffhanger at the end of episode 2. In that episode, I expect Wendy to make a bid to save Joe from the xenomorph, while Kirsh and Morrow might engage in a struggle for control over the specimens. Things also don't look that great for the hybrid Slightly, who finds himself entangled with the alien named Omelette, possibly revealing whether a hybrid can meet its end in this kind of situation. Based on the synopsis for episode 3, I think that Kirsh and Wendy might successfully capture the xenomorph, take it back to Prodigy Island, and hand it over to Boy Cavalier. If that is the case, I can imagine Yutani trying to reclaim her specimens from them afterwards. So this could lead to conflicts between the various companies, and then a struggle for survival on the island centered around the xenomorph there. Another point worth talking about is the alien eggs spotted at the end of episode 2, which are probably those of the xenomorph. Should that be the case, it might mean that the alien is a queen xenomorph that will fiercely defend her offspring. In the alien universe, these eggs contain organisms known as the facehuggers, which attach to a host and implant their embryo. So as a whole, I think that episode 3 will focus on a few different things. For one, I think it will show how Wendy gets her brother back. I think it will also detail how Morrow will keep pushing forward to capture all the stray specimens and eliminate anyone who tries to obstruct him from doing so. And I also think that Kirsh will have his own interests in obtaining them for Cavalier. I can definitely see a showdown being set up between Morrow and the hybrids at first, and then ultimately maybe a switch a few episodes later where the hybrids go against Prodigy in learning secret things from Morrow. But that was my breakdown and analysis for Alien Earth Episode 1 and 2. Overall, Alien Earth dramatically escalates both the horror and emotional stakes. It juxtaposes the unrelenting brutality of alien invasion with a tender sibling reunion while continuing to critique corporate overreach. Through elegant staging and impactful performances, particularly Wendy's emerging humanity, the episodes deepen the series' thematical complexity and set up intense momentum going forward. I can't wait to see more from the show, and this is a solid start for the brand new FX series. Just to let you guys know, I will be posting a new upload on every new episode of the show, so if you want to see more from the new Alien series, then stay tuned for my upcoming videos. But I do hope this breakdown did help some of you guys understand the first 2 episodes and the main details a bit better, and overall, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it, so don't forget to let me know down below in the comment section. For more videos on Alien Earth, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.